All right, YouTube. Hillary Clinton has outraised Donald Trump by about an order of magnitude for the last month. The Trump campaign does not have a lot of money right now in its war chest on hand to actually use for ads and things like that. Now, I think perhaps people are asking the wrong thing. Where's Hillary's money actually coming from? It doesn't matter how much you raise. It should be an example of what kinds of people are backing you. If you look at Trump, other than the money he fronted as a loan to his own campaign, it doesn't need fundraising or anything like that. He never really solicited for money before. He was kind of partially self-funded and then partially loaning his own campaign. You look at that. Other than that, it was a handful of private contributions from like small businesses and individuals. He never solicited, and in fact, I don't think ever really took the corporate money or the banker money. Hillary's not like that. Hillary will take a penny from a banker if she can get it, and she'll also take $1 billion from the same person. She's rolling in dough from Saudi Arabia. She's rolling in dough from all sorts of countries around the world that, don't necessarily want what's best for the U.S. They want to see the U.S. fail. She's got a lot of bank donations. She's got the Soroses and the other, billionaires on her side, the globalist front. She's certainly got the large corporations bankrolling her, as well as massive unions. I shouldn't say union members. They appear to generally support Donald Trump or Gary Johnson. But the union heads, certainly, they prefer the Democratic Party generally and only rarely switch over sides. So we need to ask ourselves, where's the money coming from? Because Trump's money that he has, as far as the 1.5 million goes, is apart from the loans that he issues to his own campaign. That's essentially representing private contributions from Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Sally in many cases. Hillary's donations are representing, this bank pledged $500,000, that corporate head, that CEO pledged $250,000, Saudi Arabia funneled $10 million to the Clinton Foundation. She withdrew some of that after she started her campaign. That's where her money's coming from. I think you have a level of dishonesty in that the media appears not to be actually picking apart where this money is coming from, because here we've got Trump early and often saying, and this was one of his strengths, this is something that people liked about his campaign, I'm not taking the money, because when they donate to you, they control you. His opponent, meanwhile, doesn't take up that ethos. The Democratic Party that keeps ranting about Citizens United has a candidate who is directly getting contributed to by the banks, corporations, and being fronted by all these PACs. Meanwhile, you have Trump. He can't even get $1 from most members of his own party, and apparently doesn't want them even if offered. So we have a little bit of a difference here. Usually the Republican Party in past elections, one thing it's been hindered by, it's seen as sort of this money-making scheme that gets money from this lobby and that group and this corporation and so forth. And for some reason, people thought, CEO of a corporation is like lower than banker, even though they're kind of the same thing when you think about it, and lower than like left-wing lobbyist. I don't know why, or like a George Soros or something. Clinton, meanwhile, she's sucking at those teats. Most of her money is not coming from private donors, people with the capped donation, some little old lady giving them $10 because she likes the candidate. Most of her money is coming from foreign nations, banks, and corporate heads. That's where the majority of her money currently in holding comes from. She's obviously not issuing money to her own campaign, and if she did, it'd be foreign money too. Much of her wealth, through like the Clinton Foundation and all of these groups that she's embezzled, they've come from places like Saudi Arabia. So I don't understand why people are so worried about Trump being outraised. He has been openly spurning donors. He's openly spurned corporations and banks. He openly spurned unions and lobbyists. Well, no shit, they're not going to donate as much money. Secondly, to the issue of fundraising itself, though, once he actually gets the official nomination in Cleveland, part of this issue is no longer an issue. It's a non-issue, because there will be PACs and super PACs. Whether he wants them or not, there will be groups within the GOP that will be fundraising, that will be issuing ads in his name, that will be stumping for him and so forth. They will, whether he likes it or not, they're going to help him out by doing the fundraising and putting out the ads and the radio spots and so forth. There's really nothing he can do about that. It might almost behoove him to attack the same PACs that are actually supporting him and say, oh, I didn't put out this ad. I don't even want super PAC money. I don't even want them in our elections. Fuck, fuck, fuck. He could do that, and it'd probably be pretty good for his campaign. As for him supposedly suffering a systemic collapse, that's funny. I thought that he was suffering a systemic collapse every other time he declined 5 or 6 points in polling all throughout the primaries. Everyone said over and over, this is the end of the Trump campaign. He's done it now. Too many mistakes. He said something too stupid. He doesn't have enough cash. He's not smart enough. He's not well liked enough. To a low ceiling, all of these other mythologies that they spun, they were consistently wrong throughout the entire primary process. The only thing that has changed now is that the people that will be voting are not just Republicans and independents in some of these open primaries, it's the entire population. But if you take a look over at Clinton's own favorability ratings, they're scarcely better. She's probably going to be seen as increasingly unfavorable. Now, Trump supposedly early on had like an 80% unfavorability rating. That has been ameliorated up towards the 50% mark. Clinton started out with more than 50% support very early on when she first jumped in and has continuously declined. And she's continued to decline even after her only real opponent is more or less dead in the water. Going forth, she's the presumptive Democratic nominee. Not certain. There's like a 1% chance Sanders could get it still, whereas there's a 0% chance of like Cruz or Kasich getting it. Still possible. I don't think it'll happen. But she's the presumptive nominee, and yet her own approval hasn't risen. When she solidified the fact that she would be the nominee, a lot of people suspected, oh, her approval will go up now. It'll be higher. People will rate her more favorable. Her lead against Trump will grow. That hasn't happened. She's still at like 44, 45, where she's been for almost a month now, consistently stagnant at this level. Trump's decline, I don't think, has anything to do with the fact that he's not fundraising. Maybe he took a break in rallying for too many days and people got bored for a moment. You can expect, though, he's right now biding his time largely until the convention. And at the convention, that's when he'll unleash his next hellstorm. He might give us a few hints before then. Because remember, then he's going to pick his VP. He'll let them be known to the world. He'll probably have Christie and Carson and all of these others up there. I wouldn't be surprised if he wines and dines people like Rubio and Cruz to get them to make good speeches on his behalf. He will solidify the Republican Party, and a lot of the partisans will filter back in. Some of them won't. Some of them will continue supporting Johnson or Stein, or they'll stay home, or they'll vote for themselves, or Mickey Mouse or something. Just like once Hillary takes the stage at the DNC, many Sanders fans will still refuse to back her, but some of them will settle for Hillary. It will happen, and it will increase her favorability. Or if not her favorability and trustworthiness, at the very least it'll increase her lead in polling. I didn't expect Trump, by the way, to go into the general election with a lead. I expected him to be considerably behind. What's his strategy? His strategy is to wait till the debate, let other people come under fire. You've got to understand, Hillary can attack Trump, but she can't really attack the Republican Party because Trump's already been doing that. If she says, oh, this dadgum GOP doing this and that, Trump can just come out and say, oh, yeah, I agree with that. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm the only one here that's consistently calling out my own party, but you won't do that, Madam Hillary. And so she gets fucked. In the debates, do you honestly think Hillary Clinton is going to perform well at the debates? She didn't perform well in 2008. She performed very poorly. That's why she didn't end up getting the nomination. Obama completely outclassed her. Trump is at least as good at speaking as Obama, and probably better when it comes to attacking other people. So I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers rise with each debate. That's when he'll supplant her. Until then, you have to understand, Trump has the disadvantage of the fact that virtually the entire national media has spent months and months labeling him as an unelectable bigot. So it's going to take him a lot of work in order to change enough people's minds about that. I have a few ideas about how he might do that. It's not that difficult. Whereas Hillary because her political diatribe goes back to the 1990s. She would have a much harder time than he will to solve her problem of being seen essentially as a chronic liar plagued by scandals. I know that Being Liberal and Salon, all these other groups, they want to exonerate her, say she never did anything wrong, she's a perfect angel. Most people aren't buying it. So yeah, I still expect Trump will win the election. I know it may not seem like it now, but again, Ronald Reagan would have seemed like a long shot against Jimmy Carter early on in that election, too, when he was considerably behind until, again, the first debate, when it became clear, oh, he's not actually just a retard who used to be an actor who doesn't really know what he's talking about, and Jimmy Carter seems woefully out of touch. We're reliving 1980 all over again right now, and people are going to come to see that at the first debate, which will probably be, I will say this, it will probably be the most tuned into debate in American political history, only to be supplanted by the second debate and then finally by the third debate. So, the three most televised political events in American history are likely to be stacked up in a row during this general election. Everyone's going to be glued to the TV or to the YouTube stream or something. That's when he gets his moment to shine, and that's really all he needs. He could be 20 points behind right now. It wouldn't even matter if he performs well enough at the debates. He just needs to crush her verbally at the debates, make her look like she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's really easy to do. That's when you swing the independent voters over. So Trump fans shouldn't really be worried. Hillary Clinton is not a strong candidate. She may seem it right now, but keep in mind, it's not strength, it's less weakness, and it's due to the fact that Trump has burned all bridges with most major donor bases within the GOP. He can't really put out the ads as much right now. That's why he's slipping currently, because Hillary is now ignoring Sanders. She realizes she's won, so she's going general mode. Trump has to keep holding the rallies, solidify a small but very fervent core of supporters, and then bankroll them over into campaigning during the general after he clinches, not just clinches, but actually is bestowed the title of nominee. That's about all. Peace out.